Hi, I'm Sid Deshmukh and welcome you all to new episode of Sportsy, Let's Talk Sports.
We've been talking to so many different people from the sports industry, players, administrators, or people from the commercial side, or coaches. Today, we have somebody who actually supports all the ecosystem. He is the one who plays with the numbers. He is the one who interprets the data. He is the one who analyzes the data. He is the one who visualizes the data. Today, we have with us Gaurav Sundararaman, lead analyst with ESPN Cricinfo, discussing sports analytics with us, which he calls cricket analytics right now. We welcome Gaurav Sundararaman.
Hey Gaurav, nice to see you on Sportsy, where we just talk about sports and we go with Let's Talk Sports.
Hi, good to be here, Sid.
It's good to see you as well. And for the viewers, I have a very special guest today on the show, Gaurav Sundararaman, and he is a guy who plays with data, the guy who enjoys everything to do with data and sports data. You ask him question, and he has the answer with all the data. And Gaurav is a lead analyst with ESPN Cricinfo, and he's been involved with playing with the data. He has a past history of working with sports mechanics and the company where a lot of data is played towards the performance and of game athletes and everything. And ask him a question about anything, and he replies with data. So with that, I would like to invite and have a nice chat with a friend, Gaurav. Hey, Gaurav.
Hi, that was a pretty flattering intro, but yeah, it's good to be working in your field of passion and something when your passion is your profession, automatically you work hard and you try to do well in that. So it's been a good 8 years for me in the field of sports.
See, this is what exactly I try to make it so with a lot of background, and you with the data you just made it completely flat. No, this is not fair. This is not fair. So this is what it is, right? You are making those people on the who are like broadcasters or the commentator. You are feeding them with so much of data, and they are making a whole life out of it and making a fun out of it. And you are what is that you give it to them? So just to take a step back, what exactly is sports analytics is, and how do you play with data?
So sports analytics is a relatively new field. It's come into existence maybe only in the last 10 years or so. It's been there in the West, especially in basketball and NFL, NBA. It's been used, also in baseball, it's been used a lot. Obviously, like most things, we start taking things from the West and then do it well, do it better here, right? So that sports analytics is also coming to India pretty late. It's a field which is emerging, and it's very good with respect to cricket. So especially with the advent of T20 and IPL, what's happened is it's given out a lot of data. Remember, we had only Test cricket for a long time and then ODIs. The amount of data which is generated in terms of matches played is a lot lesser. Now with so many T20 leagues, etc., you have a lot of data, and suddenly this becomes an industry by itself. And it's not only game data, it's performance of athletes data, the fan data. There's so much data which is generated, and all this together forms the business of sports analytics. Obviously, you know very well that India is still a one sport dominated nation.
Yes.
How much ever we talk about football, kabaddi, and hockey, etc. Yes, there is a market. It is growing, but nothing close. It's not even close to cricket. So it'll take time. I'm sure we'll get there, but it'll take some time. So right now, cricket is where a lot of data is generated, and a lot of data is actually managed and maintained. So if a lot of youngsters want to come and start off working in football because of their interest towards premiership teams and watching Manchester United and Chelsea, and suddenly they want to do the same for India, it's not possible, because one of the main reasons is because the data is not there. Data is not managed well and maintained. So sports analytics, as of now, I would even call it as cricket analytics in India. And sports analytics is emerging. It's coming out. There are a lot of people, really hardworking youngsters working on this. And I'm hoping that maybe 5-6 years down the line, you have a nice full-fledged sports analytics ecosystem. But cricket is where data is organized and it's easy to give information. So that is what it was helpful for me to get into this industry.
Okay. Interesting. So, as again, we are talking about a lot of data getting thrown at you. There are a lot of parameters or data points that you're generating from the every game, or it could be on field, off field. So, a lot of information always coming to you. So, is it something that you have the tools or something that tells you what kind of output that you have to give, or you can also come up with your own creative output which is going to make the more fun out of the data? Because otherwise it's okay. I know, okay, Virat Kohli comes for batting and we know that, okay, he has scored this many centuries, this many runs, this many 50, this strike rate. That's a standard information. But if there's something that now it is going beyond it, okay, he has played this kind of made, if he's playing against Sri Lanka, this kind of runs he has scored against Sri Lanka, this bowler in past. So we sometimes we get to see it, sometimes we don't. Not all the time we get it. So is it something, it's a pattern of information that goes out because of software restriction, or it is something that is in your control to give more and more creatively?
No, I think what you just said towards the end, it's totally in our control. So again, it's the domain knowledge of each individual. Data is going to be available to people who are in the business. People who are working will have access to exactly the same data.
Yeah.
And the data is obviously collected at a very granular level. You were talking about runs, balls, but we collect data up to line, length, where the fielder is, who took the catch, how many balls he didn't play, whether he hit the bat, whether he didn't hit the bat, was it an edge, etc. So the amount of data collected today is per ball in cricket close to 60, 70 data points per ball. So imagine the amount of data that comes. So in terms of what output is purely driven by the individual's domain knowledge. So that's why I emphasize a lot on not just passion, but ability to understand cricket, understand the domain based on your hours and hours of watching and reading and following the game across different conditions. So for example, a guy who may not be so well versed with the game, but is very good with numbers, may provide a completely different output to a person. So the kind of insights you get is going to vary across person to person, and that you will be able to see whether, if it's performance side, you will be able to see that difference in the field. Like for example, if I'm going to give a plan to get Virat Kohli out, somebody might see a slightly broad level. He gets out to leg spin very say 10 times, and tell the captain to bowl a leg spinner. That is one example. But somebody who maybe knows the domain knowledge very well, if I go 1 or 2 levels deep, I'll find that he's got out to leg spin 10 times, correct? But every time it's been after scoring 80, after scoring 90. So it's of no use to me. He's well set, and maybe he tried to hit the leg spinner and he got out. So maybe I will focus on the first 10 or 15 balls of Virat Kohli. What is his pattern? How does he get out? Is there any weakness? If I can't get him out, at least can I keep him quiet? So these are certain things a person with more domain knowledge or experience will go and see. So basically, it varies from person to person. Sid, it's not nothing is etched in stone. You can't teach this to somebody. I can tell people that you have numbers, you have domain. I'm sure, say for example, you are very strong in a particular domain because of your experience. And if I give you numbers on that, you will look at it completely differently from somebody who's just entered the industry. So that's what matters. And ultimately, we are there to just support and validate certain thoughts of players, validate certain plans. But it's the players who execute it. It's the captain who executes those things. So if they understand data and they feel it's very useful and they implement it and it works, suddenly data becomes the hero. Correct. If they do the same thing and it doesn't work, then they will be like, what insights are you giving, man? It doesn't work at all. So that's another important advice I give a lot of people is don't attach yourself to results in any kind of analytics. Your job is to call out patterns and give it out to the decision makers, to people who are important, who know the space. Ultimately, whether it works or not, it's a matter of a lot of other factors. You can't just blindly just take data and fit it in your team, and then if it doesn't work, then it does not make you a bad person.
Oh man, you sounded like MS Dhoni, man. Don't attach yourself to the result. Just follow the process. It will happen.
So it works, to be honest, and it's worked for me. And I don't attach myself to results. I've seen a lot of people who are analysts of weaker teams, and they get trolled or they get criticized saying your team has never won. What are you doing? Why are you picking wrong players? Sometimes it just doesn't happen. Sports is like that.
We understand now when you mentioned how to play with the data. I think it is something is, as you rightly mentioned, it's about the ability to understand it best of your knowledge that you can do it. But you are the writer and director or the script writer for the actors who are on the screen. do you sometimes feel that you get into you do not get a chance to exactly show what is required? So do you get frustrated sometimes that, okay, this is what I gave the data, I know this is exactly what people are looking forward to, and you're not talking about it?
Yeah, so it will happen. You give hundreds of data. Obviously, everything is not going to be spoken, and also it depends on the context, who you're dealing with. Some people like data, some people like to talk without any information. They are very based on instinct. And remember, most of the people in this industry are ex-cricketers, people who have played the game. So they come up with a lot more technical knowledge. So it's very important to mix both. That balance is required. So I have understood that. So I don't go in with an expectation of people using everything I say, and whatever I say is final. So that balance is needed, and I think when there is that balance, I'm pretty satisfied.
Okay, so now we'll move to the other part. Before that, I want to know, from, since we're talking about the cricketers and people that we deal with, how much data is used by the coaches or the players themselves for their analyzing their own performances, because they know what they have done. They have the information; it's in their head, because that's how Virat Kohli knows he got out to the six star off stump continuously. He knows that. It's like Sachin knows that the ball was not bouncing, and he has got LBW to most of the balls by not judging the bounce. So there are things which are playing on their head continuously. But do you think, and how much of the data that you guys prepare in the sports world is consumed by those analysts or consumed by the coaches for betterment of the player himself at an individual level? Forget a team level. Team level, yes, we know the statistic, but at the individual level.
It's a great question, and again, it comes down to the individual side. It's not up to certain things. It's completely driven by individual's ability to learn and wanting to improve. So, if a coach comes and learns, understands data, and tries to use it to improve the player, great. If a player, for example, the youngsters see their peer group doing it, seeing great players use data to improve their game, then it will definitely be beneficial. The fact is, cricketers need to understand that this is a extra tool available to them today. And if it's not a technical tool, it's not a bowling machine or some bowling machine which will bowl various different kinds of deliveries for them to improve their game. That isn't the technical side. This is more from a strategic side, and data can sometimes give you information which you never know. And
Correct.
It's what is important for the analyst or for a person like me is to actually not give them so much of information where they get scared and they go away. It is important to call out the right pattern, call out the right decision, and go communicate just the important thing to them. Like, for example, if you want to tell a player that look, something is wrong with his batting stance, you need to go tell the coach first, not the player directly, because the coach is the technical person. So you identify certain patterns, you identify certain things, showcase it in video, and then tell him that because of this stance, maybe his bat is getting stuck, so he's getting out 6-7 times. Show it using data, then the coach will take care. If the coach knows that this information is useful because he was not able to see that live, then in the next session he will improve. So if it's a cricketing side, say if it is something like a bowler who's bowling short half the time towards a particular batsman, so that the pitch map will easily tell you. So I will look at that pitch map, I'll see if that's a pattern, and then you go tell the bowler you don't need to tell him your bowl 30% short, 40% short, and confuse him and make him feel negative. They like positivity and they like knowing positive things. So it's important to tell him that when you are bowled full, you have got so much success. When you're bowled closer to the batsman, you have got so many wickets. Right now, maybe the number of deliveries you're not bowling full is a lot lesser. So it's just a way of communicating the same thing depending on each player. So each player will have his own dynamics. Each player will have his own psyche of thinking. So it's very important. So Sachin and Kohli will be treated differently than somebody who's a youngster. Similarly, a young coach will be treated differently to a somebody experienced. So I again tell a lot of people that soft skills and ability to understand people is very, very important in this field. Even though it's data and all that, those are skill sets which you can acquire. I can go for classes and learn all the data skills. Cricket knowledge comes by watching, reading, and over the course of time, over 10, 12 years, you keep watching and you understand the game, you can get it. But soft skills and dealing with people and ability to communicate that information is very key.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So that's the I think it's a way that even left to the players. So I think the way things are moving forward, I think a lot of players will give information data, because that is what they are as good as the data that shows what they are, and
Correct.
that's going to play a big role in their career as well. So now moving to a different aspect of the sporting ecosystem, and which is we know one thing: the sport is because of a player, but the sport is fun, and a player is living by the for the fan. So there is a lot
Correct.
of things about a fan, or the fans about a particular game, or a athlete, or leagues, or a lot of things. So how do you think the data is playing a role in the fan engagement life cycle?
Again, a very good question and very underrated aspect of the sports ecosystem. Fans are never looked after properly, or fans, the kind of the experience the fan gets is very, very average compared, very, very below par compared to what you see in the Western part. Again, I'm drawing comparisons with the
Yeah.
American sports because they are setting a benchmark. They
Correct.
do so much for the fans. The whole game experience is amazing. So uh, uh, it's very, very niche here, and the extent to which fan data is measured and applications for that are very niche in India, and there's a huge opportunity, huge market for this. The number of people who are actually concentrating on this is also very less. The problem is today data collection and understanding the fan is becomes it's an industry by itself. So you
Right.
need a company to actually collect all the information of the fan, understand his behavior, and then look to provide content or provide stuff for him. Today,
Mm.
franchises know that without doing anything, if I get a Dhoni or a Kohli on a field, they know that the crowds are going to come. They know
Right.
that stadium is going to be full. So there is no incentive for the franchise to actually go and do something for the fan. But I
Correct.
think that's a mistake. At some point, it's going to come back to bite everybody. And the fact is, Indian cricket is very different. We don't follow the kind of American system where 10 months they play leagues, right? The country is not, the World Cups happen once in 4 years. Otherwise, Premier League is over. So you have
Yes.
teams playing for their clubs 10 months a year. So it's easy to invest on fans. Here, say for,
Yes.
all the franchise competitions are 2, or maybe if you take ISL, it's 5-6 months. But more the cricket, the IPL is only 2 months.
Correct.
So that's one challenge India still has. So if that sports ecosystem changes where you have a lot more franchise cricket, you will have private investors coming and investing on this. Having said that, franchises are also doing a lot in this space, but not the kind of stuff I would expect them to do to enhance fan experience.
Hmm.
So fan experience is a place which is completely not being given attention
Right.
to. So that is a big opportunity, and it's a big industry, and it requires a lot of hard work and requires a lot of people who know the business to come in. So
Right.
that's where it stands right now. So I would expect this to grow in the next 4-5 years, and more information to be collected and more customized services be provided to the fans. But right now, if
Right.
you ask me, if you take Indian cricket team for example, yes, stuff done for the fans are very little,
Yeah.
and the it just sells. It sells for themselves. The players sell themselves. So it's very.
Correct.
So BCCI has not maybe taken that step. Maybe if you don't have this hero worship, maybe it might change.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, as you said it right. It is, we are talking about IPL or the India international games, but we see the sorry state for again the game that we worship. Sorry state for Ranjis and the Sayyid Mushtaq and all those things. So it is uh, the it is maybe to do with the nature of the game, or the interest level, or the worshipping, as you mentioned, right? It is about the player worshipping than anything else. I also believe it's a phenomenal market, because the moment there's a Ranji game which can have a full stadium, or a Sayyid Mushtaq game having a full stadium, I think that is where we can say that okay, the fans have been taken care of, because that's how the game has understood the fan. Right now, it is just, they are just coming because they are there, because that's how we are brought up in the country. What are the parameters that a franchisee or a analyst collect from a fan, from a fan's perspective?
So
to give
before I
make
answer
sense.
that,
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
the points you mentioned was a very valid one about Ranji Trophy, right? If you take the English county market, it's amazing. They do so much
Yeah.
for the fans. Every county match is relatively 70-80% full.
Correct.
For starters, the ground size is small, which is the same with a lot of our grounds in remote places as well. And secondly, it's not like the English stars play. Even if they don't play, the grounds are still full. Why?
Yes.
Because for starters, it has a big legacy. Even Ranji Trophy has a great legacy, but they've been giving importance. People are attached to that particular county. And recently, over the last 4-5 years, I'm not sure the exact timeline, but every match is digitized and every match is shown live stream by the respective county. Today,
Yes.
we don't see that in all Ranji Trophy matches are not shown for us. Only when Star comes in, they show a few matches on Hotstar, and now it's definitely improved from what it was, but still, there's no attachment. And if a Kohli is free and he gets to play for Delhi, maybe you will get to see those full houses also in Ranji Trophy.
Yes.
And again, timings. Test cricket is very hard, 9:30 to 4:30. It's peak working time. Ranji Trophy, it's hard for people. So what can they do? Maybe they should open it out for night matches. They should open it out, make it more entertaining, give it more. I don't know, give it more color, if I can call it. Make sure, do more marketing on that, spend more on Ranji Trophy, make sure people have a good recall with Ranji Trophy matches close to their states and build that fan following, which is why I said it's a huge opportunity. So parameters, when you talk about parameters in fan analytics, to be honest, not many people actually do it. There are a few companies like Fantain, and I'm sure there are other smaller, a lot of startups in this space. But to actually get hold of data, to actually get hold of information, and then make a decision, there's not much. So I think if I remember correctly, Book My Show is one company which is invested in a company like Fantain, and that is mainly so that they can get hold of data. Because we book in Book My Show, they will try to find out the demographics of who's booking, what they're doing, but what do they do in return, right? Yes, this information is there, but as a franchise, the parameters you need to know, for example, is obviously city or state they come from, male, female, how many people go as families to a match, how many people buy tickets and then give it to somebody else, how many people go on complimentary basis, how many people actually pay for the corporate boxes. There's so much information. Maybe the franchises have this information, but nobody knows about it, right? What decisions are they making? So I see a lot of digital campaigns. In the digital space, I see a lot of fan analytics being done. So many views are being created. I create content so that I want 1 million views. I want 2 million views. Once I get more views, I show that to the sponsor, and the sponsor comes on board. Correct? That's a typical digital model. But how does it change the fan experience? Today, how I went to an IPL match in 2008 and how I'm going now, in fact, I would say it's become worse. It's much more harder for me to go and watch a match in a stadium. Because of the long queues, my ability to enter in becomes hard. There's no Wi-Fi. Most of the time they say Wi-Fi is there throughout the stadium, but it's not very good. It's not reliable. It comes in on and off. And due to the large volume and density concentration of people, it goes. It's very hard. I remember last 2 years I've gone on IPL matches. I've not been able to contact people or share my experiences there immediately. So people are trying. I'm not saying they're not trying, but we have a long way to go, which is why I said opportunity is there. And as a fan, I need to connect with the franchise. I need to connect with not just the player. I need to connect with the franchise. And one interesting story I heard from my brother recently. He's in the US, and he told me it's not necessary for somebody to win for the team to have a large fan base. In the US, apparently, a lot of sports, the team which are they don't win, but they are number one on all the fan related metrics. So whereas in India, IPL, etc., it's still we haven't reached that stage. You see CSK and MI and maybe KKR that are top three in terms of fan following.
Fan base, yes.
And this also correlates well with the results they provide, right? So what happens when your Dhoni goes? What happens when your Kohli goes? Say 6-7 years down the line, how do I attach myself to a particular franchise? I need to still be loyal to CSK even if Dhoni is not there. If Dhoni is moving to some other franchise, I shouldn't move my loyalties. So people who are fans with Manchester United for say in 2000 are still fans of Manchester United.
Correct.
So it's a lot. It's an education, and fans need to be educated a lot about all these things, and they need to have some incentive. That's my. There's nothing the fans get currently, is what I feel.
Right. I think you made a very valid point about the fan taken for granted, or franchises are not utilizing data. But my question is, are they getting the data?
So that's what there are a lot of startups collecting this information, like I told you. So
Yeah.
obviously it's not open to public. So I won't be able to tell you for sure that if there's access to that information, I can actually tell you that, okay, I've also analyzed it and this is what I find. Whatever I have is I've read about reports, and I know franchises have hired some agencies to collect this information.
Right.
But to what granularity, how much do they use it? Do they focus on? The problem is that I think they need separate teams for this.
Mm-hmm.
This is an industry by itself. Say I outsource it to a company, they have to take care of everything, from the data collection part to the data analysis part, and then coming up with insights. I'm sure they do it, but to what level of granularity, whether they go to the level I am expecting is the seat at which I'm sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Is Gaurav coming to an IPL match? Out of 7 IPL matches in my home ground, how many times do I come? Where do I sit? What ticket do I buy?
Yeah.
This kind of information, I don't think they collect. They might collect in a whole that the stadium has 80% is full. This particular stand requires this kind of ambience. Those are things maybe they focus on, but there's so much more. What do they do for me as a fan 10 months when IPL is not happening?
Yes.
That is a big challenging part. So those are questions which are all opportunities. Every single thing is an opportunity.
Yeah, I remember 2016 when I was working on the NBA project, like Sacramento Kings, on the smart connected arena, and the involvement which I saw for the Golden One Arena for Sacramento Kings, and how I was felt. It was as good as I was the owner of the club or the most star player who has the highest number of slam dunks. I was giving that kind of feeling as a fan, and it's an experience, and for they exactly knew every detail of a fan, from where they come from, what they eat, where they sleep, what they do, what are their hobbies, and how do you make the experience likable for them inside the stadium. It was great, amazing, and unfortunately we never had it in India. I hope we get that thing in India where the fan is from a pawn it becomes a king.
Yeah, the challenge, I think, reality is that we have only a small window. So as a franchise, would you want to invest on something so heavily for just 7 matches in a year? Just 7. In NBA, it's 82 games plus playoffs, etc. It's close to 100 games. So it's worth it. So unless the model changes, which is why I think these things can be trialed in places like ISL, where it's at least 6 months there, keep it, make the fans come and grow the sport. Yes, you don't have hero worship there, apart from, say, Sunil Chetri, etc. Bangalore, for that matter, Bangalore FC have done a great job. They've created stands, they've created that fan following, because, again, they have Sunil Chetri. So Indian mindset is more towards hero worship and one single player, not the team. So that mindset needs to change, which is not easy, but that's where the education and opportunity lies. I'm sure you also understand that there's a huge opportunity there.
Correct. So, which are the few tools that you use as an analyst? So this is mainly for probably the use of some people who are interested in this field, doing their MBA sports management, or want to perceive something in this. So they may want to learn these tools somewhere. So which are the sort of typical tools that you use?
So as an analyst, there are 3-4 stages. One is to collect the data. For collecting the data, there are proprietary software. So usually, like when I used to work in sports mechanics, they had their own software. So like that, there are different companies who do this job and they have their own software. At ESPN, we use our own software. So there's no public software for you to go and learn. So people have to join companies. If you want to do it on your own, again, there's an opportunity to build it. If you're really good, you go ahead and build your data software. And a lot of people today collect data just by scraping from the public domain. They write codes and they take data from public domain. Fair enough. If they're skillful enough to do that, okay.
Yeah.
This is data collection. Then data analysis and data visualization, there are different tools. If I want to do some data modeling, you have R and Python. So those are two skills. Is great to know. Those are the modern languages today which people are skilled at. And for visualization, there are a lot of tools like Power BI, Tableau, etc. Tableau is what is being used worldwide, is the best tool. So that is a tool which is good to learn. And SQL queries and Excel are, again, big bonuses. Excel knowledge is obviously mandatory. There's no doubt about it.
Fine. Where do you keep the data?
If you Excel, PowerPoint, and these two skills are something which you have to come into the industry with. If you don't have this, there's no point. The other things are something you can acquire and learn. But the usage of these tools are very varied. Like for players and all, they don't need Tableau and they don't need. That is for you to analyze and then
Yes.
help them make decisions. So it really
Correct.
depends on the role you are in. If you are a proper data scientist and not front-facing, where you're not facing the team and management, you need all these tools. If you're in the front, if you're front-facing, you're actually going to convey to the coaches and players. You just need good knowledge. Excel, PowerPoint should be good enough.
Another question is, sometimes you have the passion for the game and everything is there, but you may not have the liking for the data. Okay, I love to consume data, but it's not something that I will have fun analyzing it unless and until I'm sitting with the friends and kind of brainstorming it. But to make a career out of it, you may sometime want to build that expertise inside you. So what are the typical traits of an analyst that you can actually build?
So it's a tough question and not something easy to build. So the thing is, you have to have the curiosity. So in terms of you're a very curious person and your ability to look for the right things in data. So you need to have extreme good domain knowledge. That is something you cannot sacrifice for. So if you have a lot of domain knowledge, you ask question, why does this happen? Then you go and search for the respective numbers, respective data. Why is something happening? What is the pattern? So that curiosity factor is required. And your ability to understand and go and get that right data from the right variable. So so I would say it's basically only curiosity, and it's not something you acquire by 2 hours you go for a class and then you say that you're very good in data. It happens over time, and I would say even I'm not a major numbers person. Though I'm in the field, my strength is my domain knowledge. So once you have a strong domain knowledge, it's easy to then acquire this. Go and fetch the data you want. Whereas if you don't have a domain knowledge, you don't know what you're looking for. You get kind of lost, and then you get irritated, and then you feel that this is not my cup of tea. So the problem is actually with the fact that you're not knowledgeable in that space. And in terms of like, say, I don't know Python, you don't know R, but you don't know Tableau, but you know your domain very well. I'm sure there are millions of data scientists who are very skilled at that, and they don't know the domain knowledge. So you try to find somebody to work with and try to move forward.
Exactly, I was coming to. I said the last couple of statements that you made really, because I said, okay, I'm interested in data, but I need to learn R or Tableau or this and that, and I completely felt demoralized. But the moment you said the domain knowledge and the curiosity, because these are the human thing that you can develop by yourself. Correct. So I think if you're inquisitive enough about and curious enough about the activities that are happening, I think it's a great field to be in, because finally when you're playing with the data, you can't. There's always, it's binary, it's 1 or 0. There's nothing in between. There's no point. There's no gray matter. There's no middle ground. It's black or white. So what is the future of all this thing? I'm not asking it to be a 10 years future, but immediate future, which is going to benefit the Indian sports industry. And let's try to talk beyond cricket. Because other sports are also growing, like there are companies like Kabaddi Adda or Sports Mechanics having the hockey and other analytics, and so there are multiple sports which are growing. So what is the future of analytics, and how does that help growing in the growth of a sport?
Correct. So I think you need to build more case studies, and you need to educate people, educate the decision makers. So private bodies, franchises will obviously understand the value because they come from such a background. They understand it's used in businesses. But government bodies are Indian. Most sports, apart from football leagues and all that, are run by government. So the Indian Olympic Association or Indian SAI, for that matter, needs to be constantly educated about the value of data analytics, and say we need case studies. The moment you have a person who's actually used data and gone on to win a medal, then everybody will start using it. It's just a matter of time. If Sachin Tendulkar today says that, boss, I got 100 centuries because I used so and so thing, I'm sure a lot of young cricketers will start using that.
Yes.
So it's matter of people also spreading the word, and a lot of investment needs to go. So it's like whether you invest and then see results, or whether you wait for results and then invest is something the decision makers need to decide. So I think the next 2-3 years, for starters, requires more education. Whenever we go on a meeting or you meet some person, you have to try to educate them about the importance of analytics. Showcase that. For that, for example, you need data, right, to showcase something. So who's collecting data? Go meet the person. Invest. If they're not collecting, try to invest on that. So these are things that need to be done. But the challenge is who's going to do that? Who's going to pay salaries for people to do that? That's the problem. Today, the other sports is a very, very low paying and not very financially very viable as a career. So a lot of really educated intellectual folks don't take it up.
Mhm.
So how do you attract these people? So you have to create more opportunities, create more roles, look to invest money. So maybe you need to find investors, you need to find people who back all these things and try to make a difference. And also it's the government it's very important. They understand, which is why having a good sports minister who understands data, and it has to drive from the top. It cannot go bottoms up. It has to go top down. So the decision makers involved in it, he will invest a lot of money, which is why it's fairly easy in franchises. So like Kabaddi, ISL and IPL is a lot easier to achieve this. But if I want to get an Olympic medal, I need to go via SAI. Today, they do a lot of video analysis because it's slightly easier. I take a camera. My investment is a camera. I focus. You have coaches telling them what is right, what is wrong. But when I look at data, and then I find more pattern. But to collect data, you need sensors, you need investment, you need some army of people to actually collect data, such as in table tennis or badminton, where the game is so fast. So Sindhu is a hero, right? So she's done so well for us. But whether she uses in-depth data analytics, no, she might use video analytics. Because collecting, there's no company who's thoroughly invested in collecting data of badminton matches. You need to collect every match. All matches don't get televised. So there's so many challenges. But for starters, you need education and you need good decision makers who are willing to invest on this.
Interesting. So this helps me come to a last question that I have. Now with the current situation, a lot of things are going to change because the sports grows with money into it, and the money comes from the brands. And brands have not seen the kind of ROI that like paying crores and crores to be on the front of a jersey. They have not got the ROI that there's no tangible ROI for them to do it. So do you think that this kind of analysis can actually give them a tangible ROI beyond the viewership numbers? Because if Muthoot is paying say 20-25 crore to be on the front of CSK jersey, or Ashtak is paying say 10-15 crore to be on the front of some jersey. So what is the number that they can look at beyond viewership, and how do we actually, where do we get that number? Just if you have any.
No, it's a valid point. So obviously the whole concept is more eyeballs, and it's been a age-old tradition that advertising is for basically getting more eyeballs, getting more viewership, and then you have this notional value, hoping that if I made so many sales, we have done very well. I'm doing well. So if you've seen the Last Dance documentary with Michael Jordan, he says about how Nike's sale, they planned some 3 million or something, but they made 126 million sales because of his brand, right? So that is tangible, and that is because of one person. That is easy to achieve when you have one particular person. But like you said, just on a jersey or on a YouTube video or on any digital platform, today marketing departments are forced to spend on advertising, right? It becomes a forced expense at some point in time, and people spend. Even a lot of times I have not really understood how. I'm sure they have their reasons, I'm sure they have their research, I'm sure there are numbers to back this, but whether it's the right choice, if you ask me, no. I'm sure that anytime you invest, you need to balance it's like investing on stocks. So you rather put, if you have 25 crores with you, I rather maybe do some invest on a team rather than a team jersey, right? I can actually make decisions. I can invest in a lot of small things within the sport. Like I can even create an academy, for example. If you're looking at analysis, or like I said, I can create a grassroots academy and put my brands there, so that in 4 or 5 years, I might reap a lot of rewards. Today, a lot of our expenses are very short term. I want to do in 2 months, I have to spend say 50 crores with our marketing budget. I want to put hoardings, and IPL is the biggest place where I can draw eyeballs, so I put it there. I think that mentality also has to change. It may not work all the time. So I seriously don't think just by getting X number of views on YouTube or X number of eyeballs on television, I am going to go buy a particular brand. I don't think that's going to happen. So especially in sports, I go behind people. So rather I invest at 25 crores on a Virat Kohli's own brand, yes, it might work, but not on a particular team or not on digital platforms of videos, etc. So I think people have to look at new avenues to invest. And like I said, you can invest on a concept. You can invest on a brand which will get a lot of recall for you after 3 years. But I don't know if people are willing to wait for that much time. Today, you're in that world where you want returns as soon as possible, right?
Quick, fast food industry.
Exactly, that is a challenge. So if I have 3 years and I can go invest on an academy, high performance center, for example, in sports, to build the next Olympian, then the moment that Olympian, the medal actually happens because of my investment, great, then automatically my brand will build, a lot of people will come, and then you're building your brand. So whether people have the bandwidth is the challenge, I feel.
Interesting. I think, I think it covers a lot of points which I always want to talk about. Like, fan engagement is, we are overdoing the fan engagement. We are not doing anything about fan development, and we don't know what fan amplification is, because we are not paying any attention to it. The moment the fan amplification happens, I think the ROI will come into picture. The moment fan development happens, then you don't have to worry about the engagement, because the engagement is a process post development. We are and the whole ecosystem will start coming. I mean, for that, I think the data from you guys is the must, and more and more people need to come into the industry.
Like you said, the fan journey, right? There's a casual fan, there's a normal fan, and there's a fanatic. So it's important to convert a casual fan to a fanatic. Today, that's not happening. Today, the casual fan just remains a casual fan. Fanatic remains a fanatic. People are still focusing on the fanatics than the casual fan. They need to convert the casual fan to a fan, and then to a fanatic. That journey is not happening today. And I'm hoping that all this happens in the future.
Yes, with amazing stuff as always. I think the time that we can keep talking, because kind of data that you have, I did not get a chance to talk to you, ask you the funny moment that you might have had in your analyst journey. But I really want to know if there is any the fun moment or the funny moment with the data that you worked out, and it's something didn't go as per plan.
It happens a lot of time. I wouldn't even call it funny for that matter. Obviously, when you do 10 things, 6 will work out, 4 will not work out. And we try to showcase the 6 things which work out naturally. Yeah, a lot of times it doesn't really work out. So I wouldn't call it funny, but I would call it more as a learning experience, and then try to work on that.
Yes, and as always, Gaurav is to the point with black and white. There is no gray. So no, I think it was great talking to you, Gaurav. I think there is a lot to learn. There are very industries is opening up, and I think you are one of those early adopters of the Indian sports industry in the analytics side. I think it's people want to listen to you and hear you. I think I'm sure a lot of people who listen to this will get inspired about the fun behind the camera, and the how you are the backbone of the glamour that everybody gets to see.
So I hope they enter the fan space and try to improve the fan experience. That I hope that's the learning they get out of this session.
Yes. Seriously. So anyways, thanks a lot, Gaurav. Fun as always, and take care, and talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot, Sid.